many years, I would like to give you about a little bit brief background about the cancer. After that, I will give you a basic background about the cancer. Then we will move on the cervical cancer, which is our topic of today, and how we can prevent the cervical cancer. So, if you might be, cancer is a very common term, which you all aware with. You know with the cancer that what exactly cancer is, but little bit I will give you about the molecular aspect of the cancer and how we can design a drug to target against the cancer. So cancer is nothing but you are a kid, now you are a grown up. So every day you are when you grown up from since you are small in height, now you are around 5 to 6, 7 height. So what increases? Cell number in your body. The cell every day you do have the 1 billion or 1 billion cells, new cells are getting produced. So every time your cell divide and make another copy of it for to perform particular type of function. But in case of cancer, and this occurred due to the some damage in your DNA, this cell division process lost the control and it will not follow the command. So it will divide without the need. Whether because in our case, like when we grown up, our cell realized that now there is no need of more cell to produce, so it gets stopped. But in case of cancer, it is continuously making new cells without the need and occupying the space. So cancer is a just it is a disease characterized by uncontrolled growth of abnormal cell. Abnormal means not normal. Okay, because they have the damaged DNA. So normal cell should follow the some restriction, but cancer cell doesn't follow any restriction. They just know one thing: divide and divide and divide. So that's why we call them abnormal cell. Now, how this happen? How why a normal cell become abnormal cell? So then there is a few reasons which I mentioned here. First is chemical. Every day we are exposed to the various type of chemicals. Here sometimes carbon and other various type of chemical every day we get exposed. So this is one of the reason. Second is radiation. Sometimes we get radiation, UV rays, sunlight, and all these things might cause this disease. Third is a microorganism. There are smaller organisms which we call them they are enemy of us, and they also can cause the cancer, and that include bacteria and viruses. Okay, so these are there are other multiple reasons which we are not going to cover because we will move on our topic quickly. So these are the prime players who can cause the cancer. Here you look, this is just a cellular level picture. Here you can see when something will divide uncontrollably. So what will happen? It will need space, and when it will need space, then it will leave the cell area or shell leaves and go above that. And this will form. If you look in the organ level, you can see this is a hand. If there is some cancerous cells, so you will see a mass of the cells is getting generated, and that we call as a tumor. Okay, so this is because these cells are uncontrollable, they are dividing, so they need some space, and every time because of that, they leave the area or the area which is restricted only this, but they are leaving and forming the tumor. So now the tumor is we can call tumor is a cancer, but exactly further there are uh, tumor is also further two types. One is a good tumor, which we not call them as a cancer because you might be seeing some people have some tumor exists for a very long time. It doesn't turn up any type of cancer. So those kind of cancer or those kind of tumor is known as a benign. We call them harmless are blessed because they doesn't cause any harm. We also do have some kind tumor, small tumor size in our body, but they doesn't cause any harm. But they are the kind of, uh, it's just before the cancer. Means although they are not dangerous, but they have the potential to become in a tumor or in a cancer. Then another one is cancer, the real one. In the cancer, the real one, the main important property of the cancer is a malignancy. Is any of you know about the malignancy? What do you mean by malignancy? It's because just I wanted to know that how many of you a little bit know about the malignancy, do you know? Any of you? So malignancy means when a cell leave its original place and go to the another organ. Let's say if let's say someone has a tumor in the hand, so cells, cancer cells are growing, but from hand it leave and it goes to the leg. This is called malignancy. Okay, so it will leave original place like you guys, you gather here, after that you will leave, you will go to your home or different places. So in case of cancer, this is when a cell or a cancerous cells leave its place and reaches and growing on another side, this is known as a malignancy and this is the real cancer. So this is means this property make the cancer dangerous or one of the important deadly disease in this world. The the property of the malignancy. Until unless when it's at its own place growing, no problem. But as soon as it's leave its place, it's hard to treat, and then even till today, if there is a malignancy, it's quite complicated or quite challenging for the clinician to treat that cancer, and that exactly is what as a cancer. So I hope you understand the cancer that every tumor is not a cancer. The tumor the tumor where the cells leave its place, that is what is a cancer. Now, just to move it a little bit ahead, we will divide the cancer into two parts. First is a solid tumor, another one is a blood cancer. Okay, so in solid tumor, further there is a one more classification, carcinoma, and there is a sarcoma. So carcinoma is nothing but when there is cancer of the epithelial tissue. Epithelial means the upper lining of your organs or tissue. So that is your epithelial, or we can call them organ specific. Occurs in a major organ such as breast, lungs, colon, and the kidney. So these are the classified as a carcinoma. Then there is another one is sarcoma, which is in the connective tissue like your joints, bone, and when there this these areas getting affected, this is known as a sarcomas. And the blood cancer, if your blood is uncontrolled divide, that is known as a blood cancer. The cervical cancer, which we are talking today, it comes under the carcinoma, and because it's occurs in the cervix of the woman, and this causes the solid tumor. This is a little bit a very fundamental aspect of the cancer, where you can understand that this is a man, picture of a man. Man is made up of billions or trillions of cells, and every cells have the chromosome because we all have the genetic imprint, and that genetic imprint we got from our parents, and this chromosome uh, has several DNA or genes that we got from our parents, and these genes, there is a two important genes. One is a tumor suppressor gene in our body. It's not that our body doesn't have any mechanism to prevent the cancer. Our body has two genes which help us in preventing the cancer. And those genes are known as a tumor suppressor genes. So, as they indicate, that tumor suppressor is they have the activity, they what they do, they suppress the tumor formation. So our body has already a very specified genes which do have the role to suppress the tumor. And our body have also the contradictory gene as well. We call that proto-oncogene. Proto-oncogene. So basically, cancerous gene is known as a oncogene. Okay, cancerous gene is known as a oncogene, and in our body, cancer genes are exist, but they are not functional. We are even in our body as well. There is a cancerous gene, but they are not causing any harm. So if they are not causing their harm, they are known as a proto-oncogene or primitive form of oncogene. Okay, so proto. So these two genes exist in our body. They, if this proto-oncogene is somehow get into turn on into the oncogene, then your tumor suppressor will come and it will suppress the activity. It's a kind of when you drive your car or when you drive your bike, there is a two things. One is an accelerator and one is a brake. So to give full command, you do have always command on brake as well as on the accelerator. So similarly, when our body need more cell, so this proto-oncogene they turn on, they make the number of cells, and when they don't need, they use the brake and they will reduce the cell division. So these two genes are exist in our body, which help us in day-to-day life. Every day they are working you and they are not allowing you in your body to develop any kind of tumor. So, but when there is some mutation or there is a damage in DNA, these will lead to the tumor. Got this point? So this is the general mechanism of cancer to occur. Okay. And in general, overall, what are the risk factors associated with the cancer? You might be thinking that why someone got the cancer, someone doesn't get the cancer. So there are these factors which will allow disease to occur. Those are known as a risk factor. And what are the risk factors for the cancer? First is age. Aging is the one of the important thing. Aging is the one of the bad thing which will allow cancer to occur. So this is one of the important. Second is cigarette smoking. And cigarette smoke, you all know, just few days before we celebrated the No Tobacco Day. So the reason is that because tobacco has the carcinogenic in it, which causes the cancer. So that's why we, we the cigarette smoking is bad for the health because of the cancer, because it may cause the cancer. Obesity is also one of the important risk factor for cancer to occur. Family history, sometimes we do have the family history, and that family history also matters in deciding whether cancer is occurring or not. Alcohol intake. So this is alcohol intake is also one of the risk factor of cancer to occur. And then UV light or radiation. So these are the important risk factors which can cause any type of cancer. Now today's topic is so this is another these are the treatment option when someone gets the cancer. Then what are the options available? Surgery, we can remove that tumor. So this is known as the surgery. Chemotherapy. So as I told you, cancer is nothing but uncontrolled cell division. So what you do, you kill the cells with the help of chemical agent. So that's why it is known as a chemotherapy. Is therapy or treatment with the help of some chemical which is harmful. So, but because those cells are not good to us, so that's why we call them chemotherapy. And this is a very peculiar word, and this is used only in case of cancer. That chemotherapy used in cancer, nothing else. Any disease will not treated with the chemotherapy because we are going to kill the cells. So that is the agenda in our point when someone use the chemotherapy. Radiotherapy, sometimes we use the radiation because you saw that cancer is occurred through the radiation. We give further radiation to damage those cells. So that's why radiotherapy is also one approach to treat the cancer. Now, there is several type of cancer: liver cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, colon cancer. Every organ has a cancer. Every organ has a cancer, and but there is one very unique cancer which is cervical cancer, which if you don't need to cure, if you can prevent. So we many times we listen one of the very popular saying, prevention is better than cure. हाँ, तो ये आपके सर्वाइकल कैंसर के लिए बिल्कुल लागू होती है, जिसमें कि अगर कुछ प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स हम ले लेते हैं तो सर्वाइकल कैंसर आपको नहीं होगा. And this is so, as this population is a mix of girls as well as the boys. So maybe boys are thinking that why we are listening this disease or cervical cancer, but in society you are also associated with the girls either as a mother or your sister. So that's why these all whatever the information today we will get, it's important for everyone. So please listen it carefully. Now, let's talk about the burden. What is the severity of the disease? Why are we just talking about the cervical cancer? Why not other? So, the first important point is that because by availing our society, we can treat this cancer. And this cancer will not occur if we took some precautions. Now, and also one of the very interesting things that you observe that in case of India, news every year there is a new cervical cancer cases in India is around 1,32,000. Okay, and in entire world there is a new cancer cases occurs 4,93,000. So you can see India is taking one third of the patient. So here you can see 73%, rest of the world has a 73% this disease. However, alone our country has a 27%. And if you look death due to cervical cancer in India, it's around 74,000 per year, and in entire world there is a 2,73,000. So you can see there is a just one third of the entire world. So we do have India has a huge burden of cervical cancer. So India has a 27% of the death due to cervical cancer in the world. Okay, and even these are in one in every five cervical cancer cases, and also one in so among all cancer cases, in five one is leading toward the cervical cancer, and in deaths one in four. Okay, and as per World Health Organization, is still the cervical cancer target is still distance because people are not aware. The cervical cancer is spreading too fast, and because WHO, the World Health Organization, which is the main motive to to make the world aware about the diseases so that less diseases we have and we can live longer life. Okay. And this is also one of the very important study in which it is showing that among the Asia, India is the number one, where you can see the highest proportion of the cervical cancer cases in India. Let's zoom on the again on the severity of the disease. So as I told that around 1,23,907 new cancer cases per year and with 77,000 deaths. And if we just zoom in a little bit about this death, so like 5,000 deaths per month, which is 167 deaths per day in India. So every day 167 women are dying from the cervical cancer. So you can understand that how severe this disease is. And almost 7 deaths per hour. So every hour there is 7 women are dying due to cervical cancer. So you can understand how exactly the severity of the disease. And this is among the second most important cancer after the breast. So uh, every 8 minutes, one woman's dying of cervical cancer in India. So this is the data from the India that every 8 minutes, one woman died from the cervical cancer. So this is very serious, and and that's why this topic is chosen, because if we get aware about this disease, we can prevent this death. It's like so a little bit recently we saw that big accident in Odisha. So where the 275 persons died. It's like if 5,000 deaths per month means about 17 aeroplanes, and in one aeroplane 300 women are dying every month. So this is kind of so severe. Got this point? And even though when we know that we can prevent this disease, these data is getting generated. The one thing we know that if we get this HPV vaccine at the age of means if we can provide the HPV vaccination to the women, this data can be reduced. So and that's why the awareness is very important. And if you look this pie chart, this is you can see that in India almost less than 10% women go for the screening for the cervical cancer. So this is the challenge, and where the problem arises that women are not going for the screening for this cervical cancer. If they go, this data can be reduced, and if timely and proactive screening of these women is imperative and critical to spot the pre-cancer and spot the cervical and stop the cervical cancer. So screening is one of the important point in case of reducing the cancer. I will tell you one example that earlier in the United States, cervical cancer is also one of the deadly disease, but due to huge vaccination, they reduce about 90% of the disease, cervical cancer in the United States. So this what it tells? It tells that if the society is getting aware about this about the problem of this disease, then the women should go for the HPV vaccination, and thereby they can reduce this cervical cancer, and also they can reduce the health cost of India. So this is the female genital organ, where you can see that it is cervix is a opening of the uterus, and this area is getting when the cells are become uncontrollable, so they will cause the cervical cancer. So cervical cancer is further. It is a very. It's not that cervical cancer occur in 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years. It takes a very prolonged time. Around it takes sometimes it takes 20 years to develop the cancer. So it means that you do have the long